Alright, so after you have all the screws taken out on this box right here, okay, so you take this cover off that's on the top and you can see where the wires are, and then you take the screws off that are holding the cover down on the side, and then what I want you to do is to take the cover off, and on the receiver where those wires are going in, I want you to switch these two wires. Alright? Now, I want you to switch where they're at because I want to check your radio real quick too. So once you switch them, what I want you to do is to turn the car on, okay, and have your radio on, and see if the steering works the throttle and the trigger works the steering. So if the trigger makes the wheels move, then we know it's not the radio. Alright? So I just want you to do that real quick, and if that is not what it is, then we're going to move on to the next part that we're going to do. Alright? So next thing that we're going to do is, if it's not the radio, we're going to take your gear cover off. Okay? So to take your gear cover off, it's this screw down here on the bottom and this screw right here on the top. Alright? So we're just going to take those off. I already got them started just to make it a little bit faster. And then once you take the gear cover off, alright, you're going to have your pinion gear right here, and then your motor and this other gear right here. Don't worry about this for right now. So what you're going to do is you're going to loosen these two screws, this one and this one. Alright? Now, I want you to take the bottom one out first. Alright? So when you have the bottom one out, then you start taking the top one out. And the reason I want you to do it like that is because the top one isn't actually going to come out of the transmission case because of the pinion gear. Because your pinion gear is going to be on top of it and you won't be able to get it out. Alright? But once you have this screw loosened, then your motor will just fall right out. Okay? So the next thing that you need to do once the motor is out completely is to disconnect the red and the black wires from it so that it just looks like this and it's not connected to anything. Alright? Then what you're going to do is you're going to take this gear off. Alright? So in your box you've got an Allen wrench, okay, and you see it's got a little bitty screw right here. Alright? So what you're going to do is put your Allen wrench into where that screw is, and you're going to twist it counterclockwise until it gets loose, and then you're just going to take this off. Alright? So then you have the motor completely out and ready to come back to me. And then you'll have this gear that you'll need to set off to the side. Alright? So what you're going to do after that is you're going to take off your speed control, which is this thing. The speed control is really, really easy to take off. It's only got two screws that hold it in, and they're right here, right there on this side, and right here on the other side. So all you do is you take those two screws out, alright, and then you're going to take this wire and you're going to come over to your receiver box and you're going to take the cover back, and then you're going to just pull this wire out. Alright? Now after you pull that wire out, you need to put the other wire, you remember when I had you switch places with those two wires? You need to put them back to where they were originally. Okay? So that's pretty much it for taking it apart. Now putting it back together, I want to make sure and show you something. Okay? So when you get this motor, when you get the motor, you're going to take your gear, your little gear like this, and you're going to put it on, okay? Now, on the motor, and I don't know if it's going to be easy for me to show you with this. Okay, you can see that there's a flat spot on the motor right there on the shaft. So you've got that little flat place. All right. So when you're putting the gear back on, you have to line up the screw so that it's on the little flat spot. All right. And when it's on the little flat spot, that's when you can tighten it back up again. Because it's that little flat spot that lets the screw come down and set so that the gear doesn't spin when the shaft spins. So you see, you've got flat spot, and you've got where your screw is turned, where you have to put your screw on. Now, the only other thing that you really have to do once you get it, and once you get that gear on, is you have to be really careful when you're putting it back in the car. And I hope that there's enough light that you can see this. Okay. So let's try it this way where I can see better. All right, so you see on my gearbox right there, you've got your spur gear and your pinion gear. So you have to make sure that this gear and this gear, that the teeth line up really, really well if it's going to work. Okay? And then the only other thing you do when you're putting it back together is you need to take a piece of notebook paper and cut a little strip, and you're going to put it in between these two gears before you tighten these screws up. So then you push the motor over with the piece of paper in there, you tighten the screws up, and then you pull the piece of paper out, and you should be good to go. So, yeah, so anyways, I will get this on YouTube for you, and I love you, and I miss you so much. Kills me. I wish I could give you a great big hug. I hope you're feeling better. And Lily, I hope that you see this too. I love you, princess. I miss you so much. I cannot wait to see you guys again. All right. I love you, babies. And Alex, whenever you get the parts in, just give me a call and we'll watch the video. And I will help you as much as I can possibly help you. And we'll get your car put back together and fixed. And get you racing again. I love you guys.